Okay, Nick and Andy, let's preview and give our predictions for a really big game coming up in the Premier League this weekend. Aston Villa against Manchester United. I think that's what we would call a Christmas cracker here in England in terms of this is a beauty right before the festive.
Does that mean it's a cookie?
Yeah, no.
Or a biscuit.
Or a biscuit.
No, you pull it at the table. It's a piece of cardboard and it has a little bit of paper in it that makes a banging noise and a present and a hat and a joke falls out of it. You never heard of these?
What are you talking about? No.
You've never heard of these? Okay.
Never. I
Google
thought a
it.
cracker was,
Everybody out there, Google it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Every
Holy
Christmas
goodness.
table, any celebration table needs a Christmas cracker.
Something lost in translation here.
God, I'm so happy right now. I can't wait to tell my family about a Christmas cracker.
Trust me. I'll send you guys some of them out for Christmas.
All right.
So
Anyway.
this is a Christmas cracker of a game at Villa Park. Aston Villa absolutely surging, Nick Mendola. I mean, 6 wins in a row for the first time in their history in the Premier League. 10 of the last 11 they've won. Morgan Rogers looks great. They've got so many options going forward. As you can tell, I'm very excited about Aston Villa, and I think this is a team that's exceeding their general play and just finding ways of being very efficient and ruthless when it matters. And that's Unai Emery's teams down to a T, right?
I'm open to having the perfect storm argument. Like, I don't think they're going to win the title. Don't get me wrong. But I can give you the perfect storm argument. This guy knows how to rotate lineups. He is a tactical wizard. He knows how to do tournaments. So, like, you don't really have to worry about how much he's going to stress out on a Wednesday to a Saturday. And this is going to really tick off some people and make Andy smile. But he does it a lot better than Mikel Arteta. He's got, like, this is, it's funny. If they switch jobs right now, and I know Arsenal would never hire Unai Emery, but if they switch jobs right now, you'd feel really good about Arsenal winning the title, wouldn't you? So yeah. I think there's a perfect storm scenario where legitimately they're in there right down to the wire, because I think they're deep with guys who understand what the manager is asking of them, and more than anyone, and credit to Arteta, he is the same way. I think these guys understand. I think he is a communicator in that way.
Yeah. Andy, to go off that point on Emery, is it fair to say, other than Pep Guardiola, he's probably the next best manager in the Premier League in terms of what he's done in his career, what he's won, and the resources he has available to him right now? It feels like he has proven just how good a manager he is with these last few years at Aston Villa.
Yeah. I've never thought about it in that context, but you're probably right in terms of accomplishments, career accomplishments. We are in a kind of a young, up and coming era of coaches in the Premier League at the moment. We kind of ushered on a generation or two, and I guess Pep is Pep's the old man in the room still, kind of the last one hanging on, but Emery has. Functional is always the word that comes to my mind when I think about his teams, whether it's this Villa team or whether it was his teams in Spain, even the Arsenal team that didn't work. That was what they were. And I think, not to relitigate the past, I think that was at a time when Arsenal could have used a little bit of that, and then they needed that mentality change, and mentality is the other big word that comes to mind, because it is everybody pulling in the same direction. It is everybody on the same page. It is everybody sacrificing for the betterment of the team, and I think we also see that in terms of how they build their squad, the players that they bring in. They don't bring in the established superstars that are going to have the egos, that are going to expect to have special treatment. It does seem like everybody is equal to everyone there, and I love the way that they play. They're very solid defensively, very good on the counterattack. The only hole that I would potentially poke in Nick's argument there about a potential title challenge is, I think 2 years ago we would have said, what happens if Ollie Watkins gets hurt? I think now it's what happens if Morgan Rogers gets hurt. I think so much of what they do in possession and on the counter runs through him, and if you were to take him out of there, suddenly I look at them and think, I could set up a team to play against them, and I think have some pretty, not easy success because they're going to grind, but I just think it takes away that difference maker in their team. This is a very intriguing game on the weekend, because United just are so up and down, and you know exactly what you're going to get game to game from Villa.
It's true, and Nick, Andy mentioned it perfect there. So up and down, Man United. I think we saw the best and the worst of them in that 4-4 draw, incredible draw against Bournemouth last time out. But they've only had one loss in their last 10 games. So they have found some kind of consistency. And even if they're not at their best, they're drawing and should have won probably a few of those games that they drew. But what do you think about Manchester United right now? Because again, lost some key players to AFCON. And then Bruno Fernandes, I know you wrote a great piece on Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com this week, praising him, his season, and his comments that were released this week were pretty telling, I think, in terms of where he's at and where Man United are at as a club right now. It's quite surprising as well to hear some of that. But they're in a good spot generally, but they could really do with a good festive season to push them into that top 4 conversation even more.
I think the big name clubs go through this in a way that, although Newcastle, I like to say, has a big name, hasn't had to because they haven't had the success that you would like. And I don't know, Joe, if you've been through this with Saints, and he certainly has with Spurs. So I think he'll be able to relate to this. Bruno Fernandes is one of the best players that Manchester United has ever had. I mean that. In terms of individual talents, in terms of production, in terms of his buy-in, and honestly, attitude-wise, somewhat of a throwback to when they're bad. Like, he treats it like he's playing for Sir Alex, and that matters to them. And to see this player, not to go off too far of a tangent here, but to see this player asked to do something he's not good at. And like, I think in the piece, you guys can all read it at our site, but Bruno Fernandes is in the 75th percentile of recoveries of loose balls. He's in the 48th percentile of challenging for those recoveries. So he's bang average. But he's going after it. And like, I just think there's so much to be proud of because it has not taken away from his playmaking. And I just think Manchester United fans, if he were to leave now, and why owners, in theory, if it's true, reportedly, would have been okay with sanctioning to leave, is because they haven't been piling up trophies. Like, his performances are exceptional, but they're comparing it to guys who, with all due respect, because he went to Newcastle as well, and Nicky Butt won a lot of trophies too. Okay. But he didn't have the acumen that Bruno has. And I just think he's won me over time. And that Man United fans need to find the perspective, and their ownership needs to find the perspective on what they think is a servant to their club.
Yeah, I mean, how do they deal with losing those key players, Andy, and to AFCON? Because I'm looking at that, and Mazraoui's solid, Diallo's always a live wire, and then Mbuemo's been excellent since he's signed. I mean, Bruno and others are going to have to step up to fill that creative gap. I guess I'm looking at a Mason Mount probably is going to, and Cunha especially. There's going to be a lot more pressure on them over the festive season.
Yeah, Mateus Cunha is the big one, and obviously him and Mbuemo come in the summer together for combined 140, 150 million or so, and one half of that duo I think has settled in nicely, and we're still waiting to see it from Cunha, and he's a bit more of a maverick type player, an individualistic type player, if you will, and so maybe this opportunity where, at some point over the next month with players gone, Ruben Amorim's going to look at the squad and say, all right, somebody do something. Somebody make something happen for us. And I think that's Mateus Cunha to a T right there. He says, okay, this is my time. And we could see a little run from him. I think Mason Mount has been quietly very good under Amorim. And that was somebody that we kind of pinpointed when he first came in, just given the system that Amorim plays that would be solid. But Nick's right. This is so much about Bruno this season. And the fact that they're even in the top 4 race at this point is so much down to him. And you think about all the ways that he's been let down in his time at Manchester United over the years. And I don't think anybody's really rooting for the return and re-rise of Manchester United at this point, but you almost feel a little bad for him that he has been let down and he has tried so hard and done so much and on his own seemingly at times. And it's going to have to be that for the next month, I think, because I've said this about a number of teams. I don't know where the scoring chances are going to come from this team. I think they'll strangely be better and more solid defensively without those attacking players, because I think they're going to have to prioritize that a little bit more.
Yeah, and the start of the festive season, this tough game against Villa and then Newcastle on Boxing Day is going to be tough. But then there's a run of games thereafter into the new year where they can build some momentum. So they get through these couple of games, Nick. I feel pretty good about Man United really pushing to finish in the top 4 or 5 this season and just keep improving like they have been. And they have the bonus of not having midweek action through Europe for the rest of the season. So score prediction time. I'm going to go 1-1. I feel like that's about right at the moment, but I could easily see more goals in this. Nick, what do you think?
I'm going to go 2-1. I think it's about time we see. He's not the finished product, and he wasn't when they bought him. But I think Chesko, if he can chip in 2 goals a month over 5 months, give himself a double-digit goal campaign, that'll matter. But I think they'll have enough to win this, but it's going to be dangerous without Ahmad. It's asking a lot of Dorgu, who I haven't been terribly impressed with.
Andy, what do you think, mate?
I'm going to go 2-1 the other direction. Probably a late winner. John McGinn, I think, has a big moment in him. At some point, he's again another example of a player that you would look at and say, do you want Nick? Do you want John McGinn in the Newcastle squad? Probably not, because if you look at the other midfielders, but as someone who's going to play every single game, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. One of the first names on the team sheet for Unai Emery, given what he does for the squad and the role that he fulfills. And that's just Unai Emery getting everything out of the team. And I see him just getting more out of them than Amram is doing with United, or the Amram will be able to do with United this weekend, I should say.
Yeah, a lot of solid players there for Villa. Tielemans, McGinn, and then Marlon coming off the bench and chipping in, even if Watkins isn't firing. So a lot of options. Yeah. So
Onana Kamara is one of the stronger, more combative defensive midfield duos in the league as well. Good luck playing through them.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one at Villa Park. Aston Villa against Manchester United this weekend. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for, Villa in the title race, even though Unai Emery will not admit that. And then Manchester United looking set for a surge into the top 4 over the festive period. So both teams will be up for starting the festive fixtures off right and really pushing on in the new year.
Christmas crackers for all.
Christmas crackers for all. Exactly. That's a perfect way to end it. Thanks so much for joining me. And thanks to everyone out there watching. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas, a cracking Christmas. And we'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.